What's going on there, guys? Good evening. It's your Earthmaster here on this Wednesday night, September 21st, 2022. It is about 8:02 p.m. California time here along the West Coast. The latest earthquake shows a 2.8 up here in the Alaska region. All right, let's go ahead and check out the latest activity happening out here around the globe. I'm going to start off here with the big island of Hawaii out there in the beautiful Pacific Ocean. Of course, last night we had a pretty good swarm of earthquake activity ramping up around the southwestern edge of the lava lake at Kilauea Volcano. Of course, this has been an ongoing event far as the filling, so to speak, of the lava lake from continual earthquake activity, or not earthquake activity, but lava activity being infused here to the lake. The latest updated information here from the HVO, Hawaiian Volcano Observatory, mentioned, this was put out this morning here, that there had been some breakouts with a drop in the crater floor and the active part of the lava lake. So definitely a little bit of development last night kicking up. They talked about summit tilt meters being or having a recorded large increase in inflationary tilt of approximately 12 microrads, it looks like, from that 80, looks like a total tally of 80 earthquakes from about 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. That was late last night. Most earthquakes in the swarm occurred approximately 1 mile beneath the crater area. So occasionally, I guess, we see these little swarms of earthquakes here. Definitely something to watch, I believe, here at the Kilauea Volcano. It's been ongoing here since about September of 2021. There's been a tremendous amount of gallons of lava infused here into the lava lake area. Oh, what is it? What's the number again? Let me see if I can find that for you guys. 29.2 billion gallons. There we go. Let me read that correctly. Of lava has been infused since the beginning of this eruption back on September 29th, 2021. Wow, that's a lot of lava. So a lot of weight increase, right? And it takes a little bit of, I guess you get sometimes these settling events going on. So we'll watch that pretty closely. Nothing really kicking up here within the last hour. In fact, the last earthquake here was, looks like earlier this afternoon time frame. Things kind of just mellowed out a little bit there for now. Some activity around Mauna Loa as well, and the Pahala area. Nothing kicking off here around the Loihi Seamount right now. Continue to monitor the activity there on the Big Island out there in the Pacific Ocean. All right, let's start down here. Also, switch over here to Southern California. We haven't really seen any further swarming activity kicking up here. In fact, the last earthquake down here along the Brawley seismic zone was much earlier this afternoon at 11:11, and that was a 1.5. This area is kind of backed off here in seismic activity. I did drop the earthquake watch for now. We'll keep a close eye on it, though, for certain. Whenever we see swarms up there, or I should say down here, around the southern end of the San Andreas Fault, and on both sides, so to speak. We've seen some movement here last couple days here along the North American plate boundary. That was kind of making a migration right across the plate boundary. Whenever we see that, that's something to keep an eye on, because I feel that any type of major swarm around a locked area such as this section of the San Andreas Fault should be noted. Right now, the latest earthquake, though, 1.3 near the Big Bear City of California, 7.9 kilometers deep up north. Let's go ahead and take a look at this activity here. Some of this movement along the coast range here around the San Luis Obispo area is from earlier this morning time frame. We really haven't seen any further new movement throughout this area of California. The specific shear zone locked area, this conjunction here of the San Andreas Fault and the Garlock Fault, not showing any activity yet. But man, this here is a very dangerous area. Very dangerous as far as seismic activity goes, including that Garlock Fault shear zone. I wouldn't doubt it when we do see that big one pop down here, that it does trigger the Garlock Fault as well. Just a little observation here. There's not a whole lot of historical data on this Garlock fault. But just looking at the map here, one would wonder what's going on here with this little section of the plates. Definitely an eye-opener, I believe. Let's see what else we got. Not a whole lot. Some spotty activity throughout Northern California and Nevada. Washington, looks like they're finally added a couple quakes up here. Not for sure what was going on. Maybe, look at that, sisters. Maybe they were adding some updated information or updated equipment. Who knows? But a little 0.8 outside of the Three Sisters area. If you guys remember, earlier this year, was it earlier this year or last year? I can't remember. I went up there and tried to get a little bit of information about this bulge of land that's kind of uplifting here around the Three Sisters area up there in Oregon. And, well, couldn't go back too far because of the snow. Haven't been up since. Thinking about maybe going back. Well, it might be too late right now. But I'm going to keep an eye on this. A little earthquake activity, a 0.8 around the Sisters, Oregon area. On that note, I want to look at the... Is this the one I want to look at? Yeah, I think this will work. See if we can figure this out here. I know we have... this is the GPS monitoring systems here. There's Mount Bachelor. Let's see exactly where we're at here. I'm kind of off center. I don't even know if they have any specific GPS systems up there at the Three Sisters. It sits right across from the Bend area. Let me see exactly what we got. Okay, here we go. A little off there for a minute. All right, Three Sisters. I believe that bulge was happening off here to the southwest of the South Sister, right around this area. And of course, these data systems are pretty old. I remember that. There's not a whole lot of renewed GPS station monitoring equipment up there. Let's see what we got on this one, though. This one kind of looks like it keys up in the 2022 period. So this is the vertical displacement, the upward trend, so to speak. And I think this kind of shows here that article that they were talking about far as the uplift going on there, this bulge of land around the Three Sisters area. Not real. Well, let's see what we got here. Not for sure what this is. I don't know if it's some type of instrument adjustment or not. But sometimes when we see this, it's an antenna adjustment, or maybe they're moving the equipment. That's a sudden rise. I mean, if that was the case, I think we'd notice. But I think maybe they were moving things around. But either way, there's definitely been an uplift, so to speak, here. Notice this. Even in 2022, continual uplift of the land here. And it kind of looks like it could be between... I don't know, maybe 20 not 20 meters, that'd be chaotic. 20 millimeters, it looks like, according to this map. So, gonna watch that pretty closely. To be honest, I completely forgot about that up there at the South Sisters area, as far as that bulge goes in the land. Definitely something to watch. This earthquake right here kind of just reminded me of it, so I'm going to keep that into the back of my thought process, and definitely keep an eye on that for sure. All right, what else we got up north here around Mount Rainier? Mount St. Helens looks pretty quiet according to the map here. We'll check out those seismograph stations here in just a little bit. One earthquake up here outside of the Prince George, Canada area. Let's bring up the 2.5 and above and take a look at this. Notice a little trend of earthquakes up here against the Rocky Mountains, which extends way up north, right, into the Canada region. Quite a prominent feature across the North American plate, and it kind of is doing a little sequence here of equal quakes spread out. This is a 2.5 and above, so just something to note there. Of course, what was this one up here around the Rocky Mountains? Let's see, 3.2. 5 kilometers. We did see a further another earthquake up here near the McCarthy, Alaska area, 3.2. This one here is in Yellowstone, so I think it just happens to be right in the way, right in that little path. Got about 32 earthquakes listed up here on the map of Yellowstone, the latest one earlier this afternoon, but I guarantee you folks, 32 is a minimal number. Let's go ahead and check out the Yellowstone seismograph stations, shall we? Check that out. What happened to the data here? It's just gone. So, do you guys see more than 32 earthquakes on here? I do, easily. Easily. You got to remember, guys, even within these little lines here, a couple of these little spikes are earthquakes. So they're only counting the ones there that they can count. But more than 32, way more than 32 earthquakes here in the mix of the Yellowstone swarming going on. And it's been going on for a little while now, for a couple weeks. It's not major earthquake activity, but it's just been a kind of an ongoing deal. A lot of times the seismologists and the geologists state that this is simply more than, or nothing more than water beneath the surface, snow melt, right? You get the inflation of the land from the snow melt and the rainwater and whatnot. And eventually it makes its way down into the heated areas of the surface here around Yellowstone, because there's quite a few hot spots around here, and it creates these earthquakes and whatnot. So, you know, we're watching it. The swarms are not unusual, but it's something I'm keeping an eye on pretty closely, because there's been quite a bit of earthquake activity, and some of those, these larger ones, up there into the 2 magnitude range. Let's see what we got for a total tally of. Yeah, it looks like there was a 2.5 in the mix there as well. 10:01 UTC time. Let's go ahead and check out the 10:01 UTC time. 10:01 is going to be right here. Yeah, 10:01 UTC time. That's going to be the 2.5. We showed up pretty nicely across the park here, even over here along the Joseph's Coat area, Pelican Cove region as well, picking it up. So I'm not seeing any migration of the swarm far as it extending across any areas of the rest of the park, mostly confined here to the Holmes Hill, Maple Creek area. And hey, at least they're reporting it, right? I've seen times where we've gone days without them reporting any of this microquake activity in the swarm. So I give it to them. They're actually kind of doing a good job there, right? Good job. That's what you guys get paid for. That's what we pay you for. All right, Guadalupe Peak, Pecos, Texas area. Some earthquake activity much earlier this morning, it looks like. Wait a minute, let's go down to the time zone. Actually, this afternoon time frame, latest one, 2.5. Kicking up out there. Let's see what we got. Maybe some oil fields out here, maybe some old ones. There's some fault systems that do run out here, so not all of it is oil fields, but man, you can kind of see some of these lines out here, some dirt roads throughout the land, and it's hard to tell exactly if these are any type of oil fields or not. Maybe there's some older ones out here. I mean, this could be one right here. But we know that we're within the vicinity of a lot of them. These are all your oil fields, injection wastewater ponds. Take that water and they're shoving it down below the surface there, between 5-7 kilometers deep. And there's a lot of them out there in Texas. So, you know, look at this. There's a lot. Anyone with a computer, your iPhone, can check out these injection ponds. That's not a tennis court out there in the desert, even though it kind of looks like it, right? Or maybe some type of portal below the desert. But no, that's these are oil fields out here, and there's thousands upon thousands of them. That's for sure. All right, Oklahoma. What do we got going on up here in the oil fields of Oklahoma? Shall we look? A 2.3. Let's see what we got. East Campbell gas field. Take a look here too, folks. You guys see it? Do you see the trend? Quite a few of these. Some of these look older. Of course, the older that they are, the more likely that they are to see earthquakes, because the damage is done below the surface. Sometimes it takes a little while for that pressure to increase in the region to collapse this area and create an earthquake or two. Some of those can be big, 4 or 5 in the magnitude range, so expect that in the future years to come. South America, not a whole lot going on. Caribbean plate, pretty quiet for the most part. We got, what do we got here? A little 3.3 around the Dominican Republic area. Aside from that, I noticed things have really dropped off here along the West Coast and the South America area. Let's go ahead and head over west here outside of Tokyo. Got a little swarming, a little 5.0 off the coast of Tokyo into the Japan Trench. Looks like a 4.8 as well just a few minutes later. 17 to 24 kilometers deep for those earthquakes. Got to watch that area pretty closely. Movement around the Indonesia area today. Looks like the last earthquake was a 4.3. Some of this movement, some older activity from this morning time frame. Not a whole lot going on right now along the Kermadec Trench of New Zealand. Let's go ahead and check out the EMSC model here and see what we got as far as the latest data goes. Because USGS, I tell you what, sometimes they leave these folks out, and that's not fair. That is definitely not fair. These guys deserve a decent earthquake transparency report, right? Looks like a little swarm is occurring here. Hold on, let me zoom in, see what we got around the North Island, New Zealand area. Looks like a pretty good swarm of earthquakes up here in the 3 range. And some of those are somewhat deep as well, 250 kilometers, 50 kilometers deep, 291 kilometers deep. Holy smokes. And that could coincide with what we have here, which is a subduction zone called the Hikurangi subduction zone. This area right here is very capable of producing a pretty large megaquake. Not a whole lot of data on this. I've kind of dug through records in past videos, and they believe this area, seismologists believe this area here is very capable of producing a large quake. But when the last one was, I'm not certain, and there's a little uncertainty on future quakes as well for that area. But they know that the stress and whatnot is built up in that area. There's quite a bit of strain out there, folks, if you really think about it, in certain areas. We've been pretty fortunate out here along the West Coast as far as any major activity goes. 1906, the last good earthquake out here along the northern, this is kind of pretty much a northern section of the San Andreas Fault. So there's not a whole lot of concern, but once you get down south here, you start getting into the uncertainty of when it may happen again. 1857, right? I believe that last earthquake down here along the central section. And the southern segment, like I said, has not seen an earthquake, a full rupture, in over 300 years. So our fortunate time, so to speak, is coming to an end. It's rapidly coming to an end. Each day that goes by is a chance that we could see a much more powerful earthquake. Same with the Cascadia subduction zone. Over 320 years, 322 years since a full rupture. Just a matter of time, folks, before this kind of makes the news. We just don't know exactly when. Okay, tremor. Let's go ahead and check out the tremor now that we're talking about the Cascadia. Most of this into Oregon. Yes, that includes Portland, and it looks like underneath the area of Roseburg, Sutherland area. This is not surface earthquake activity, but tremor down dip into the Cascadia subduction zone itself, down there about 45 kilometers deep. This is a shoving down, so to speak. This is vibrational tremor. When you get this, you can only, you can pretty much assume that as this land is being shoved underneath the North American plate, the Juan de Fuca plate that is, strain is building. And it's just getting tighter and tighter, and it's warping more and more. It's just a matter of time before that thing does decide to pop. Who knows when? That's a good question. All right, let's go ahead and check out the Three Sisters seismograph stations, which is not a whole lot. Man, if I had seen a bulge in the land, right, I would be installing some new seismic equipment up here to monitor the earthquake activity that could be taking place up here. So that little point 8 occurred to the southwest of the Three Sisters area, kind of in that area where the bulge could be listed or is kind of noted on satellite imagery. The husband, let's go ahead and check out, see if this is operational or not, is a little tilted tonight. That's not due to the tilting of the land. That's just due to insufficient maintenance of the seismograph stations out there. Go ahead and check out the previous day here. Yeah. Imagine the land going up and down, kind of like a wave. No, that's not what's going on out there. It's just, I don't know what's going on with the digital areas here, but it doesn't look right. Hold on a second here. Where'd the, shoot. Let me pull up this map here real quick again. See when that earthquake struck up there at the Three Sisters area. Kind of want to see a timestamp. Stand by for a second. UTC time of 1041. 1041. Right here. Is that right? So we go across this line here. That's a red. 1041 sits right about here. It's a little small microquake that it picked up. Aside from that, wow, there's nothing. There's actually no earthquake activity aside from that little 0.8. I would be questioning it if I seen some unusual activity, but even amongst all this craziness here in the seismograph, I don't see any earthquake activity except for that one. All right, guys, let's move on and see what we got here for solar weather activity real quick. What time we got? 8:25. All right. Okay, coming up here, September 23rd time frame, we are looking at a G1 class storm for you folks up there at the higher latitudes. The current forecast calls for a late afternoon time frame, it looks like. 0 to 0600. Actually, no, I take that back. That's not late afternoon time frame. That's actually going to be early evening for if you're out here along the west coast. So that is good news for the folks at the higher latitudes. This should be a pretty good event. Yeah, 0 to 600 UTC time. Right now it's 3:25, so it's dark. 8:25 West Coast time here. That should be good. Good for you folks up there. After that, things are kind of mellowing out a little bit, back into the green category. This could be a maybe if type of deal. It could be a glancing blow from the coronal hole that has been facing us over the last couple days, which is now well scooted off towards the western limb here in the latest imagery. So we'll see if that comes to play. We have a pretty bright spot here on the sun. That is a newly developed sunspot that is growing pretty rapidly, and we need to watch that pretty closely here for some flaring over the next coming days as this thing rotates into view. It's a pretty large sunspot. It looks like one major large sunspot, but it's actually a couple different sunspots. See that? They're kind of trailing behind one another. We don't see that too often, but man, when it does happen, it's a doozy, and it looks pretty cool on the images. They are named 3106, 3105, 3107. So we'll watch those areas pretty closely as they rotate towards the Earth view. These folks are suggesting a 99% chance of a C flare, 30% chance M flare, X flare around 5%. I don't know if they've changed this or not. It's a good possibility, right, with this newer sunspot rotating into view. We'll watch that pretty closely. There they are again. Let's get the latest image here. Yeah, we can kind of see them down there. Beautiful view. That's one thing I need to invest in is getting a solar telescope. Actually, I honestly don't even have a telescope. I haven't had one since I was a kid. Back in, I think I was like 16 or something. I remember looking at the craters of the moon, and I think that's something I need to invest in. That would be kind of cool. And also a solar lens. That way I can look at the sun. Otherwise, definitely don't point anything. Your camera, your telescope, do not point anything ever at the sun. That's, yeah, not good. All right, let's see what else we got. That's about it, folks. I believe that's about it. Take a quick look at the earthquake 3D globe here and things. What do we got there? 1.2 in SoCal. 4.8 down here on the northern end of the Mariana Trench. Was the USGS even reporting that? I don't think they were. So, kind of a newer quake as well. All right, guys. Have a good night. We'll chat you guys very soon. Make sure you guys have an earthquake plan and whatnot. It's always good to be prepared, right? We'll catch you guys later. Peace out, everyone.